Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time zone you may be in. It's been a minute since we had a conversation or that I was able to share some things that I applied that have allowed me to thrive, that elevated me, not just outwardly, but inwardly. A lot of times we're not aware of our surroundings. And all that means is this. When you're driving a car, imagine driving it with no side view mirrors. Imagine driving it with no rear view mirror. Imagine driving it with the side windows completely blacked out. And all you can see is out of the front windshield and the back windshield. Guess what? It couldn't work. Cars aren't meant to do that. We are meant to have a panoramic view. We're meant to be able to use our abilities to see a full circumference and a circle around us. And if that's the case for while we're driving in a vehicle, why wouldn't it be that case while we're driving our lives? Why wouldn't it be that case while we're driving every relationship that we enter into? Whether it be friendship, whether it be business, whether it's family, no matter what it is. A lot of times things go unsaid or unspoken and they're lost in translation because it's never said. It's undone. It's not transparent. It's not being put out there. And the worst thing anyone can do is to assume. See, assuming does a bad thing. It not only does the bad thing for us, it does the bad thing for the person, place, or thing that we had made assumptions about. See, those things are causing us to be closed-minded. And without being open-minded, how can we receive? How can we be open? See, ball your hand up like this. If it's closed off, nothing's getting inside. But if you open up, see, that's where new information, new possibilities, new experiences, and new beginnings can enter into our lives. I hope this makes sense to you. Now, let's think about this for a second. What are some of the things, people, beliefs, possibilities that you haven't been open to, but later on you were educated on it? Someone else told it to you a different way. You actually did proper due diligence and learned. So that possibility or that thing that you were closed-minded about has now opened you up. And now you're able to receive it properly. This is in so many causes, so many cases. So don't be closed-minded. Be open. And then most importantly, have effective communication. Be transparent. A lot of times there's underlying conversation that isn't the real conversation. A few days ago, someone said something to me and I didn't get it from the source. So I went back to the source and I explained, hey, I just wanted to confirm that this is what happened and this is what was said. It was so funny that the person started laughing at me and said, man, that person always messes up everything that I say. I was like, you know what? I didn't know that person was that. I didn't know that you guys had a miscommunication or that person has a different receptors and translates things their way. I just wanted to make sure because the information was very important. And I think that every single one of us should think those things. Whether you're watching the news, whether you're listening to music, get the true explanation of what it was. Whether you're watching TV, two people can look at the same thing and it's completely opposite. You heard that saying, we live in our own world. Most of us do. And what that means is this. We all live in the same world, but things are different. I'll give you an example before I'm done. And then I'm done. Two children can be raised by the same parents, but turn out completely different based on based on their receptors, based on their perception or their experiences of how they were raised, who their parents were, whether it was tough, whether it was love, whether it was structure, whether it was disorganized, all those different things. See, the person that gives you the information doesn't mean they're right. It just means that they have their understanding. You got to translate it yourself. You have to own it on your own. I hope this helps somebody. I hope this makes sense. And listen, you didn't have to have this conversation, but I know that there's somebody out there that you want to get on the same page as you. Man, they won't get on the same page as you no matter what. You never know those things like somebody comes back to their significant other, their brother, sister, cousin, uncle, mom, dad, and say, hey, guess what I just learned? Such and such told me this, or guess what I just heard? And that person may be looking at them like, you didn't just hear this, you actually heard it from me before, and I've been telling you this for a very long time. See, the law of familiarity means that we close off our receptors and we don't hear everything the way that it's being presented to us all the time. And I hope that makes sense, but you didn't have to have this conversation with that person. You didn't have to give this coaching call that I'm giving to you to them. See, because if you said exactly what I said, they're not going to hear it the way that you've been delivering it to them. But if you share this with them, they're going to hear it. They're going to come back. They're going to be open-minded. They're going to be able to receive it a different way. And then you can get on the same page. See, you didn't have to have this conversation. You didn't have to prep this. You didn't have to prepare this. One of these days, millions of people are going to be looking at these videos. And they're going to be wondering how you know me and you have access to this, but you've never heard these things. Pay very close attention and remember that I said this. Take care. That's my time. Mr. Over Million Serve. I'm out of here.